I overheard my fiancé saying, "He's just a stepping stone, I'll leave him once the wedding is paid for." Her friends laughed. I played along, then left her at the altar. This morning her sister texted me, "She's losing it, please answer." I was 32 when I thought I had it all figured out. A successful architect with my own firm in Boston, a beautiful home in the suburbs, and Amanda, my gorgeous fiancée of 3 years. We were planning our dream wedding at the Harrington Estate, a luxury venue overlooking the harbor. Everything seemed perfect until that night, just 2 days before our wedding. I came home early from my bachelor party feeling sick, only to overhear Amanda talking to her friends. "Jerome is just a stepping stone," she laughed. "I will leave him once the wedding is paid for." Her friends laughed along with her. The world I thought I knew shattered in an instant. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from. Drop a comment below and hit subscribe if you have ever had that gut feeling something was not right in your relationship. I always believed in working hard for what you want in life. Growing up with parents who immigrated from Chicago to Boston when I was 10, I learned early that success comes through dedication and perseverance. Architecture became my passion during high school, and I worked multiple jobs to put myself through college and graduate school. By 28, I had established my own small but growing architectural firm, specializing in sustainable urban designs. My career was on the upswing, but my personal life consisted mostly of long hours at the office and occasional dinners with friends. That all changed when I met Amanda at my college friend Derek's gallery opening. She stood across the room studying a modernist sculpture with such intensity that I felt drawn to her immediately. With her sleek black dress and intelligent brown eyes, she exuded confidence and sophistication. "The artist completely misunderstands the relationship between negative space and emotional response," she said, when I approached, not even turning to look at me. I laughed. And here I was thinking it looked like a fancy paperweight. Her smile when she finally faced me knocked the breath from my lungs. That night we talked for hours about art, architecture, our dreams, and by the time I asked for her number, I felt like I had known her for years. Our first few months together were a whirlwind. Amanda worked as a marketing executive for a luxury lifestyle brand, and our worlds complemented each other perfectly. She understood my late nights finishing projects, and I appreciated her ambition and drive. We enjoyed weekend trips to coastal towns, exploring art galleries, and introducing each other to our favorite restaurants. 6 months in, I brought Amanda to meet my parents. Mom made her famous pot roast, and Dad pulled out embarrassing childhood photos. Amanda charmed them completely, asking thoughtful questions about their immigration journey and complimenting Mom's cooking with genuine enthusiasm. "She seems wonderful," Jerome, Mom said after Amanda left. "Just make sure you both want the same things in life." When I met Amanda's family a month later, I understood her better. Her father, Thomas, a successful surgeon, and mother, Diane, a former model-turned-charity organizer, lived in an immaculate mansion in Beacon Hill. Amanda's sister, Leah, 5 years younger, seemed the only down-to-earth member of the family. "You must be special," Leah whispered to me during dinner. "Amanda usually only dates guys." Dad pre-approves from his country club connections. As our relationship progressed, my career took off as well. A major development company contracted my firm for an eco-friendly apartment complex downtown, doubling our business overnight. I needed to hire more staff and move to a larger office space. Amanda seemed increasingly interested in my work, especially the financial aspects. "You should really charge more for your designs," she suggested one night over dinner. "With your talent, clients would pay triple what you are asking." After 2 years together, I knew Amanda was the one. I spent months designing the perfect ring and planning the proposal. On a clear September evening, I took her to Cape Cod to the same beach where we had spent our first weekend getaway. As the sun set over the water, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, I knelt on one knee. "Amanda, you have made these past 2 years the best of my life. I want to build a future with you, design our life together the way we dream of. Will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears as she nodded frantically. Yes, of course. The engagement ring, a 3-carat emerald-cut diamond set in platinum, seemed to please her enormously. That night she called everyone we knew, her voice bubbling with excitement, As she described the proposal and in great detail the ring, wedding planning began immediately. What I originally envisioned as a modest ceremony with close friends and family quickly evolved under Amanda's direction. The guest list expanded from 50 to 250. The venue changed from a charming restaurant where we had our first date to the exclusive Harrington estate. The budget tripled, then quadrupled. "This is our special day, Jerome," she would say whenever I expressed concern about costs. "We only do this once. Do not you want it to be perfect?" Around this time I began noticing subtle changes in Amanda. She became increasingly interested in my business decisions, pushing me to pursue high-paying clients over the community projects I found fulfilling. Her own social circle shifted, dropping longtime friends in favor of the wives and girlfriends of wealthy businessmen. "You need to meet Jackson," she told me after one networking event. "His investment firm could refer so many wealthy clients to you." Think bigger, Jerome. When an opportunity arose to design a community center in my old neighborhood, Amanda seemed underwhelmed despite my enthusiasm. "Pro bono work does not pay the bills," she remarked. "At least make sure there is a dedication plaque or something for your portfolio." My parents noticed the shift during our monthly dinners. "She seems different," Mom commented after Amanda spent the entire meal discussing her friend's Aspen vacation home. "Less interested in you and more interested in what you can provide." I defended Amanda, attributing her behavior to wedding stress, but doubt had begun to creep in. The woman I fell in love with, who could spend hours discussing architecture theory and art, now seemed preoccupied with status and appearances. As our wedding date approached, the planning consumed everything. Our conversations revolved around seating arrangements, floral designs, and menu selections. Amanda hired a prestigious wedding planner who seemed to suggest increasingly extravagant additions. "Do we really need a 10-piece orchestra and a separate jazz band?" I asked one evening. "The Prescotts had the same band at their daughter's wedding," Amanda replied, not looking up from her tablet. "Everyone who matters will be comparing our wedding to theirs." Despite these moments, I remained genuinely excited about our future. I loved Amanda and believed in us. The mounting costs and stress would be worth it for our perfect day, and once the wedding was over, we could return to being the couple I remembered. Any doubts I had, I pushed aside, believing they were just pre-wedding jitters that everyone experiences. Little did I know that those doubts were trying to warn me about what was coming. 2 days before our wedding, my best man, Ryan, organized my bachelor party at a local steakhouse. Nothing wild, just good food and drinks with close friends. Around 9, I developed a pounding headache and decided to head home early. Amanda was having her bachelorette party at our house, but I figured I could slip in unnoticed and rest in the guest room. I entered through the back door using my key to avoid interrupting their celebration. Music and laughter echoed from our living room as I quietly made my way down the hallway. Just as I was about to head upstairs, I heard Amanda's voice crystal clear through the partially open door. "I mean, Jerome is sweet and all, but let us be honest, he is just a stepping stone." I froze my hand on the banister, unable to move. "So you are not actually in love with him?" one of her friends asked, her voice lowered but still audible. Amanda laughed, a sound that cut through me like glass. "Love, please. I like him fine, but love was never part of the equation. He is stable, has good prospects, and is completely devoted to me. Do you know how hard it is to find a decent-looking man who will pay for everything without questioning it?" The women laughed as my stomach dropped to my feet. I should have walked away, but I found myself rooted to the spot, a masochistic need to hear more keeping me in place. "So what is the long-term plan?" another voice asked. I recognized it as Kimberly, Amanda's maid of honor. Simple. We get married. I enjoy the wife of an up-and-coming architect status for 2 or 3 years while I make the right connections. Then when someone better comes along, we have an amicable divorce, with his assets growing and the prenup only covering what he has now, not future earnings. I will be set. "Is there already a someone better?" a third voice asked teasingly. Maybe, Amanda replied, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "Tyler at work has been very attentive lately. Senior VP position, tripled Jerome's salary, and that summer house in the Hamptons does not hurt either. And Jerome has no idea. None whatsoever." He thinks we are soulmates or something equally ridiculous. He is so busy trying to make me happy that he never sees what is right in front of him. The man designed our entire house with my preferences in mind, without keeping a single space for himself. Who does that? So who is paying for this extravagant wedding? Someone asked. Jerome, of course. I convinced him that since his business is doing so well, he should cover most costs as a gift to my parents. Dad is reimbursing me privately, though. That money is going straight into my separate account for after the divorce. The room erupted in laughter again. My entire body went numb, a cold sweat breaking out across my skin. The room began to spin slightly as 3 years of memories recontextualized themselves in my mind. Every loving gesture, every intimate moment, every promise we made suddenly felt hollow and performative. Flashbacks overwhelmed me, Amanda's sudden interest when my business began succeeding, her dismissal of my community projects, her constant pushing for bigger clients and higher fees, her excitement about the ring focused entirely on its monetary value rather than its symbolism. I thought about the prenuptial agreement her father had insisted upon supposedly to protect her small inheritance. Now it seemed that had been merely phase one of a longer con establishing the precedent while ensuring it would not cover my future earnings. My instincts screamed at me to burst into the room to confront Amanda and her friends with what I had heard, but some cooler, more strategic part of my brain held me back. What would confrontation accomplish now? A scene tears, likely denials and explanations about wedding jitters and just joking around. No, this revelation required a different response. I backed away silently, retrieving my keys and slipping out the same way I had come in. In my car, parked a block away, I finally let the emotions hit me. My hands shook so badly I could not insert the key into the ignition for several minutes. When I finally managed to start the car, I drove aimlessly, ending up at a hotel near the airport. That night, sleep was impossible. My phone buzzed repeatedly with messages from Amanda. "Hope you're having fun. Not too much fun, though. Just checking in. The girls are leaving now. When will you be home? Getting worried. Please text me back." "Babe, where are you? Ryan said you left the party early." I responded with a simple lie, crashed at Ryan's place. "Too much to drink. See you tomorrow." Her immediate reply came with a kissing emoji. "Rest up, big day after tomorrow. Love you so much." Each word felt like acid on my skin. The casual love you that I now knew meant nothing to her. I spent the night staring at the ceiling, mentally reviewing every moment of our relationship for clues I had missed, signals I had ignored. By morning, my shock had crystallized into something harder and colder. I would not create a scene or break down. I would not give Amanda the satisfaction of seeing me hurt. Instead, I would handle this with the same calculating precision she had applied to our relationship. I would play along right up until the moment I could inflict the maximum consequence for her betrayal. I would ensure that Amanda realized exactly what she had thrown away, and I would do it in a way that left no doubt about who had the last word. The morning of our wedding dawned bright and clear, one of those perfect June days that people pay extra for. I stood in the groom's suite at the Harrington estate, adjusting my custom-tailored tuxedo in the mirror. My eyes looked different, harder somehow, but none of my groomsmen seemed to notice. "You ready for this, man?" Ryan asked, clapping my shoulder. In the 24 hours since overhearing Amanda, I had told no one what happened. Not my parents, not Ryan, no one. This was a performance that required complete secrecy to be effective. "More ready than you know," I replied, forcing a smile. Through the window, I could see guests arriving, being ushered to their seats in the garden. 250 people, most of whom I barely knew, here to witness what they thought would be the happiest day of our lives. A knock at the door revealed the wedding planner, clipboard in hand. "We are ready when you are, Mr. Porter." The bride looks absolutely stunning. I bet she does, I thought. Amanda had spent months selecting her Vera Wang gown, flying to New York for multiple fittings, rejecting 3 dresses before finding the perfect one. As I made my way to the altar, standing beneath an obscenely large floral arch that cost more than my first car, I caught my parents' eyes in the front row. They smiled encouragingly, completely unaware of what was about to unfold. Beside them sat Amanda's family, her father looking impatiently at his watch, her mother already dabbing at non-existent tears with a monogrammed handkerchief. Leah, Amanda's sister, was the only one who looked genuinely happy. The music swelled, the doors at the back opened, and there stood Amanda, radiant in white, her arm linked with her father's. She was objectively beautiful. I could not deny that. Her dress hugged her figure perfectly before flaring out into a dramatic train. Her makeup enhanced her features without overwhelming them, and her smile glowed with triumph as every head turned to watch her procession. As she glided down the aisle toward me, guests murmuring appreciatively, I maintained my smile, playing my part in this charade one last time. When she reached me, her father kissed her cheek and placed her hand in mine. "You look incredible," I whispered, entirely truthful. She beamed, mistaking my compliment for the adoration she had come to expect. The officiant, an older judge who was friends with Amanda's father, began the ceremony with practiced gravitas. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Amanda Elizabeth Harrington and Jerome Michael Porter in holy matrimony." I let the words wash over me, maintaining my expression of loving attention while my mind ran through what would happen next. The readings, the songs, the vows all proceeded according to plan. Amanda recited her vows flawlessly, looking into my eyes with what anyone else would interpret as deep love, but which I now recognized as the gaze of a predator satisfied with her catch. Then came my moment. "And now, Jerome, do you take Amanda to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish her in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer from this day forward? Until death do you part?" The garden fell silent, everyone, waiting for my automatic "I do." Instead, I took a deep breath and looked directly into Amanda's eyes. "I am afraid I cannot make that promise." A confused murmur rippled through the crowd. Amanda's smile faltered, her eyes widening slightly. "2 nights ago, I came home early from my bachelor party." I continued, my voice steady and clear enough to carry to the back rows. "I overheard a conversation between Amanda and her friends that I was never meant to hear." Amanda's face drained of color. Her fingers tightened around her bouquet. "In that conversation, Amanda explained that I am, and I quote, just a stepping stone. She detailed her plan to marry me for my money and connections, then divorce me in a few years when someone more financially advantageous comes along." Gasps and whispers erupted from the audience. Amanda's mother covered her mouth in shock while her father's face darkened with anger, though I could not tell if it was directed at me or his daughter. She also mentioned that she has never loved me, that our entire relationship has been a calculation on her part. She even spoke of someone named Tyler, with whom she has apparently already begun planning her next strategic relationship. I turned to address our guest directly, maintaining the calm, measured tone of someone stating simple facts rather than revealing a personal devastation. "I want to thank those of you who came today with genuine support for what you believed was a loving union. I apologize for the inconvenience of your travel and for the awkward situation I have put you in. However, I cannot and will not marry someone who sees me merely as a financial transaction, a stepping stone to something better." Amanda finally broke her shocked silence. "Jerome, this is ridiculous. I do not know what you think you heard, but you are completely misunderstanding. I was nervous joking with my friends. You cannot seriously be doing this right now." I looked at her one last time, the woman I had loved or thought I had loved for 3 years. "I understand perfectly, Amanda. I wish you luck finding your next stepping stone." With that, I turned and walked back down the aisle alone, ignoring the eruption of chaos behind me. Amanda's scream of frustration cut through the confused babble, followed by the crash of her bouquet hitting the ground. Outside the garden, I climbed into the waiting car that should have taken us to the reception and instructed the driver to take me home instead. My phone immediately began buzzing with messages and calls, which I ignored. Whatever happened next at the Harrington estate was no longer my concern. By the time I reached our house, it already felt like someone else's home. I packed essential items, contacted a real estate agent about listing the property, and then checked into a hotel where I turned off my phone and ordered room service. The texts and voicemails, when I finally checked them hours later, ranged from shocked support from friends to Amanda's increasingly desperate and then angry messages. How could you humiliate me like this? You completely misunderstood everything. This is the biggest mistake of your life. My father's lawyer will be contacting you about the wedding costs. That last message actually made me laugh. The wedding had been paid for primarily with my money. If Amanda's father had secretly reimbursed her as she claimed, that was between them. Over the next 2 weeks, I stayed with Ryan, ignoring the storm of gossip and fallout. Amanda made multiple attempts to contact me, showing up at my office, my favorite coffee shop, anywhere she thought I might be. My colleagues reported that she alternated between tears and rage, between claiming it was all a misunderstanding and threatening legal action for defamation. Eventually, I agreed to one meeting on neutral ground with Ryan nearby, simply to achieve closure. The coffee shop was deliberately public with enough ambient noise for privacy, but too many witnesses for a scene. Amanda arrived looking nothing like her usual polished self. Her hair was pulled back carelessly, her makeup minimal, dark circles under her eyes. "You have ruined my life," she began without preamble, sliding into the seat across from me. "No, Amanda. You ruined what could have been a good life together when you decided I was just a means to an end." "It was just talk," she insisted, leaning forward. "Women say things at bachelorette parties. It does not mean anything." "Then why did everything you said align so perfectly with your behavior over the past year? The constant pushing for more expensive clients, your disappointment when I wanted to do community projects, your sudden interest in my business, finances." She had no answer for that. After a moment, her strategy changed. "I made a mistake, Jerome. I got caught up in wedding pressure and trying to impress my friends. But I do love you. We can start over, go to counseling." "There is nothing to start over," I replied, feeling oddly calm. "Even if I could believe you now, which I cannot, the trust is broken. Completely." Her face hardened then, the mask of contrition falling away. "You will regret this. Do you think anyone else will ever love you the way I did? You are boring, Jerome. Predictable. Pathetically earnest about everything. Without me, you will go back to being nobody." I simply stood up. "Goodbye, Amanda. Please do not contact me again." As I walked away, I heard her final shot. "Your counteroffer was garbage anyway. Dad is right, you have no business sense. Tyler says your firm will be bankrupt within a year." I kept walking. 3 months passed. I threw myself into work, taking on new projects that excited me rather than just those with the highest budgets. I started therapy, working through the betrayal and learning to trust my instincts again. My parents, once they understood what had happened, became my strongest supporters. "You were always too good for her," Mom said, simply squeezing my hand across the dinner table. "The right person will value you for who you are, not what you can provide." I sold our house, bought a smaller place closer to downtown, and slowly rebuilt my sense of self outside of the relationship that had consumed 3 years of my life. Then came the text from Leah, Amanda's sister. "She is losing it. Please answer when she calls. I am worried about her." I was tempted to ignore it, but Leah had always been kind to me, the only member of Amanda's family who seemed genuine. I called her instead of waiting for Amanda. "What is going on, Leah?" She sighed heavily. "Everything is falling apart for her, Jerome. After what happened at the wedding, most of her friends dropped her. Apparently they were not all as superficial as she thought. Her company found out she was having an inappropriate relationship with Tyler, who is married, by the way, something she never mentioned to you. I am sorry she is struggling, but that is not my problem anymore." "I know," Leah said quickly. "And I am not asking you to take her back or anything crazy. But she keeps saying she needs to talk to you one last time for closure. She is in a really dark place, Jerome." I would not ask if I was not genuinely concerned. Against my better judgment, I agreed to one final meeting. We met at a park neutral ground with plenty of people around. Amanda looked thinner, her designer clothes hanging loosely on her frame. When she saw me, there was no anger, just exhaustion. "Thank you for coming," she said, sitting beside me on the bench. Leah was concerned. "What did you want to say?" Amanda was quiet for a long moment, watching children play on a nearby playground. "I have lost everything," she finally said. "My job, most of my friends. Tyler denied everything and got promoted. My father thinks I am a disgrace. I am sorry you are going through a difficult time, She laughed bitterly. Sorry, you destroyed my life. No, Amanda, you destroyed it yourself. I just refuse to be part of the destruction. She looked at me then, really looked at me for perhaps the first time. How did you know? How did you know? Walking away at the altar was better than confronting me that night, because I finally trusted what I felt instead of what I wanted to believe. I replied honestly. All the signs were there. I just did not want to see them. We sat in silence for several minutes. I did care about you, she finally said so quietly I almost missed it. Maybe not the way you deserved, but in my way. That is not enough, Amanda. That will never be enough for anyone. As I stood to leave, she asked one final question. Are you happier now? Without me, I considered the question carefully. I am more myself now. And yes, that makes me happier. In the 6 months since our failed wedding, I had indeed found a new kind of happiness. My architectural firm had won a major award for that community center Amanda had dismissed. I had reconnected with friends I had neglected during our relationship. I had even begun dating again cautiously with healthier boundaries and expectations. Most importantly, I had learned to recognize the difference between authentic connection and calculated interest, between love and strategy, between partnership and exploitation. The stepping stone Amanda thought I was turned out to be the foundation for rebuilding my own life stronger and more authentic than before. Her attempt to use me as a path to somewhere else instead became my path to somewhere better. I realized that forgiving Amanda was not about absolving her of responsibility or welcoming her back into my life. It was about freeing myself from the weight of anger and betrayal, not for her benefit but for my own peace. As I walked away from that park bench, I felt the last pieces of our shared history finally release their hold on me. Some lessons come at a steep price, but their value, if we are brave enough to learn from them, can be immeasurable. Have you ever had that moment when you realize someone was not who they pretended to be? That gut feeling that turned out to be right? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories. Remember, sometimes the most painful experiences lead to our greatest growth. Thank you for listening, and I hope my story helps someone who might be ignoring those important warning signs right now.